Hello, and we are back. Although I don't know if it's a thing to be proud of. Who knows how long all of us will be able to stay on the internet without being totally wiped out by the network society, the corporatocracy. Uh, the netocrat is not long for this world. The genuine dissident is not long for this reality of being allowed into the public square in such a dramatic way. But, anyways, that's another topic for another video. Today, I wanted to talk about not what happened yesterday with the inauguration. I'm recording this the day after. I wanted to talk about just the, shall we say, aesthetic template of normie world and how the culture industry, as I've said in this tweet, which I will get to, the culture industry is drowning the world in. I don't exactly create the concept. I mean, there's been, terms like neoliberal aesthetics, but the culture industry is now going to drown the world in neoliberal kitsch, what I call neoliberal kitsch, or radical liberal realism. And the intersection of uh well, before I get to that, let's just do the usual shilling, like, subscribe, share, comment, the YouTube algorithm, the impersonal god that runs the video platform of the world deems that interaction equals view count and vice versa. So, anyways, do all that stuff. So the culture industry, when it comes to neoliberal kitsch. Okay, so just to get it out of the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically show you, and like my last video, I'm doing like an off the cuff critique of a piece of neoliberal kitsch or a piece of very, I would say, cringeworthy propaganda by Jimmy Kimmel. And what I wanted to say was there's this intersection of forces that have created neoliberal kitsch, and I will do work in the future. I plan on writing a book, believe it or not, and who knows when that will come about, but hopefully we'll see. Along with the book I'm planning on humans of flat design. But anyways, there's I just wanted to use this video as a sort of sketch before I actually get into like doing anything, because the way I treat uh Twitter sometimes is it's like, the sketches that I do before a finished product of a painting. It's, the sketches of concepts that you tweet out in just bursts of inspiration in an instant. So I have multiple tweets about the nature of neoliberal kitsch. And there's this conglomeration of forces that have intersected and come together and come into this sort of watershed that I feel is truly being, you know, it's truly finding its full resonance in the presence. Although there was, from time immemorial, political propaganda in the art world, and the art world intersecting with politics and vice versa, and a lot of this. I know people think it's cringe, but I almost, like I said this once. I think it was a Halo tweet. I said, he said the goal art saying that all art is political is cringe. I go, no, it's not. It's true, but you have to be like a theory cell to like really understand why all art is political. But like me. So I think that all art is political if sort of, rather, as one of my good longtime mutuals said in that tweet, it's not that all art is inherently political, it's that all art has the potentiality to become political. But neoliberal kitsch from the outset is a function of what I would say deculturation. It's the conglomeration of popular symbols of Americana because it's uniquely a North American phenomenon. And it utilizes the sort of new mythology of America because America is a relatively new nation, but it has very deep and ancient roots. And a lot of this sort of telluric mythic power that was coming out of the old world really found its grounding in America as the shining city on the rock. You know the whole bit. But in this video is really going to show the intersection of progressivism, American the reappropriation, the revisionism of Americana, the idol worship of American founding personages, and meme culture, not real meme culture, but rather the ability of the culture industry as a state model to appropriate a war machine, meaning that they take memes, usually very old memes that nobody cares about anymore, dead memes essentially, and they, it's usually, let's face it, it's not even 4chan memes so much as it's Black Twitter memes. And you'll see this in this video. And I wanted to like browse through the replies, because the replies to this Jimmy Kimmel tweet that's blowing up has like textbook examples of uh, images and cartoons that I would consider neoliberal kitsch. And a big part of neoliberal kitsch as a style, rather than the concept, would be political cartoons as such. Because political cartoons that are becoming, cartooning in politics has become the tip of the spear, especially in the Trump age, because Trump is a counter spectacle, as I said in this tweet. And therefore, the political cartoon is a very quick aesthetic conveyor belt for propaganda. It's very much the leftist politics. It's very much ingrained within the history of leftist politics being the politicization of aesthetics, as Walter Benjamin said. Walter Benjamin. We we had this joke in grad school where he would like pronounce his name in like that, Yiddish, German, Benjamin. So, anyways, whereas Benjamin, sorry, said that that the right tends towards, it's trending in the opposite direction, which is the aestheticization of politics. So now politics becomes the mass act. So Donald Trump very much is the aestheticization of politics, because everything he does is a spectacle. But he is a counter spectacle because, as I've said before, I've said this in Break the Rules, I've said this on Twitter, that Trump really embodies the he is a product of the Hollywood culture industry. Because let's face it, okay, you could say he's a businessman, but there's a lot of sus things going on, because with acquiring properties and building, there is inherently there's a lot of like shady stuff going on, and like nobody really truly knows like his wealth, like, right, or lack therefore. But really Trump ascended in the American consciousness, especially during the 80s and 90s, because Trump embodies something so unique about Americana in terms of like the, seriously gutless, like boorish, nouveau riche American capitalism that was an explicit rejection of the old world, that became a simulacra unto itself. It became like, if you read Baudrillard's book, America, he said like every single thing in America, every blade of grass is imbued with the significance, because everything about America, maybe because of its intense regionalism, maybe because of its isolation from the old worlds, maybe it's because of the American media machine, and in the post-war period, there's like literally everywhere you go in America has this like iconic status. Every single little like, and this is why artists like Jeff Koons become so important, because he's a conscious manipulator of that sort of Americana aesthetic, where now even like little kitschy the gas station trinkets that people buy, they used to buy like on what's the big the Route 55 is that, or 66, I forget, the famous American highway, where in the 50s the like burgeoning middle class that still didn't have a lot of money, they would go on road trips throughout the various regions in America, and they would take the route, that's been systematically dismantled. And all of these like little oddities and like motels and like roadside attractions have become systematically dismantled over the years, and they've become like fodder for urbex artists and explorers to like go in urban exploration. Anyways, so America embodies this like unique American vision of like excess and capitalism and like 80s vaporwave like neo. And I know like the neo-fash people, they wanted to do something with this, and but I could talk about, and I'm sure I will talk about this and break the rules about what's going to happen with Trumpism, but I really wanted to focus on how neoliberal kitsch is the prevailing aesthetic template or discourse that has robbed Americana of its roots and has displaced it in order to imbue this sort of like alien, I wouldn't even say alien ideology, because this ideology is uniquely American just as much as Trump's counter aesthetic discourse of like 80s revanchism is. It's just as much, this is what I don't get about like the Jordan Peterson dark web, like normie con, like Daily Wire types that talk about cultural Marxism. They think it's like this alien force from Europe, from Germany, the Frankfurt School, that like it came to universities and they took over the literature departments. And it's just, no, it's like this ideology of progressivism is just as much embedded in American liberalism as anything else. But anyways, this is besides the point. I really wanted to do another critique video, and I wanted to like, because this piece that Jimmy Kimmel released, and Jimmy Kimmel is such a, I don't want to Fed post, but he's like really a cryptid of the American media machine. And the late night talk show host phenomenon is just, not only is it the death of comedy, but it's the death of a certain seriousness to American discourse that people like to blame Trump for. Trump is just the byproduct of that. The sort of seriousness of American political discourse has been, it was being stabbed to death, like Euronymous in that, Cold Winter with Varg Vickers, way before, Trump came along. So the spectacle itself has to invade politics, and now politics is largely the spectacle. It's largely the way in which we gain personal meaning and identity. And a really great video, well, actually a series of videos. I highly recommend going and watching all of his things, even though I don't agree with everything. Don Jolly, the YouTuber, the one who runs that literary shitposting website, what's it called? Encyclopedia.zone. Yeah, encyclopedia.zone. Highly recommend going to Don Jolly's YouTube and just binging. I'm currently binging everything, and I didn't know how I discovered him. Actually, I did. I knew about him because he was the guy in that very good Sam Hyde Hyde Wars episode where they were talking about college and boomers, and I really want to have him on Break the Rules. I think he's, especially about the internet and meme culture. I think a panel, myself, him, and meme analysis would be amazing. So Lev, get it done. Anyways, he had this good point about how politics has replaced, and I've said some similar stuff, but he has a very good way of doing it. It's become the spectacle, and therefore it's sunk itself into the heart of society itself, in like the decadent, like late end period empire that we find ourselves in. And really it's become the currency. And so I think it's one video he has, it's called Going Outside is Now a Political Action. There's this really great like scripted essay, a video essay that he did in response to like one of these mass shootings. What's it called? I'm browsing right now. Oh yeah, there's another video. It's called "Be the Spectacle." That's another one. That's a great one. Shootings in shitpost. That's a really great video as well. I highly recommend finding those videos on Don Jolly's YouTube channel. I believe it's just called just Don Jolly. That's it. That's right there. Yeah. So I wanted to like really, do my like cheap ass Zoom fucking screen share video off the cuff rant, because I always wanted to be one of these YouTubers back in the day. Like this is like 2015 revivalism. This is just guys like reaction channels like doing like cheap and easy content. But I feel like I can do it in a way that those, where those people failed, hopefully I can do something better. So my tweet that responded to this, I'm just going to read it. The culture industry is breathing a sigh of relief now that the counter spectacle of Trumpism has been subdued. Their dominance over the psyche of this withering civilization is unopposed once more. To drown the world in its neoliberal kitsch banality, forced memes and all. Forced memes and all. I was gonna say dead memes, but I'm trying to like sort of like, I don't know, I'm really paranoid about Twitter nowadays. Like I don't even say Joe Biden. I have to do like the ones and the threes to like replace letters. I'm trying to like, I don't swear on Twitter. I don't say gamer words. Anyways, let's do the screen share. You're gonna really appreciate me breaking this down because I feel this thing is so horrendous. It's so, oh my god, it's just I don't even know what to say. It's like this is like the liberal revisionism, neoliberal kitsch version of Americana, complete with black Twitter memes and twerking and historic figures. And of course, it's got Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but you'll see. You'll see. Let's go. Screen share. Sharing right now. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, so, and that's that. Jimmy Kimmel. It's got 100, almost 200,000 but you'll see later all of the examples. So here we go. Yeah, okay, I hate this stupid song. You notice how Joe Biden had the butt rock in his inauguration, even like, oh, so the dancing Lady Liberty. Oh, that's always a popular image. So Trump, he hates women so much that he, just tries to. I remember that one cartoon where Trump and the GOP was like holding down Lady Liberty, like strongly implying rape. Oh, look at this. Look at what's trending. TERFs. Why is that trending? I wonder why. I know I'm getting off topic here. I should do a series where I just like browse Twitter. Every time TERF trends, it's just like it's like amazing. Yeah, it's okay. They're just shitting on TERFs. TERFs are okay. So here's the thing. So you have Biden, who is something with women's sports. They're saying so. TERFs are screaming Biden erased women. Do they know outing Biden as anti-TERF makes me actually more hopeful that okay, so really a certain population of Brahmin caste identity group, they're really going after women who don't want to obey. So TERFs, trans people attack on Roe versus Wade, grab them by the pussy. Well, I guess like wow, this is stunning to me. This is it really shows them being the here's a good tweet by wow, it disappeared. Let me just go to let me see if I could find my good friend Mystery Grove Press. Maybe I'll do it later. You really see how they're basically the stormtroopers of the neoliberal order, and it's it's like they will literally sideline other identity groups to defend to the death the administration, the current like blue empire world order, and it's really something else. So TERFs trending today is an important reminder that you will now be fired by most major corporations and universities if you fail to accept a social fad that encourages children to mutilate their genitals and that everyone would have rightly considered insane 10 years ago. Yeah, that's true. And I would even say like even 8 years ago. So let's go back to the main look at this disgusting so you notice how like they go after TERFs more than you'd figure TERFs that have laid the bedrock for feminism everywhere, OG radical feminism, that you'd figure they'd be kinder, but no, like they treat them. I think because propaganda doesn't work on people that don't care, like people on the right, so they really have to go after their enemies to the left. They really have to like when it comes down to defending women or defending the neoliberal blue empire, you could see how much anyways, I'm getting off topic. So let's see, here we go. Liberty dancing stupid. Oh, Abraham Lincoln. You want to know his real opinion on black people? the messianic symbol of dancing. Oh, there we go. So again, this is typical Americanism. This is the sort of founding mythos of America. This like post-Protestant worship of American iconography. Uh, the universalism of Americanism. Logo had a great thread on this about the difference between like how Unitarianism is really like the American Protestant religion, and it's not like the evangelical right that can't stop from splintering. It's more of like this Unitarian ideal. Oh yeah, wow. So we have a retread of um, American wartime propaganda because they have to live in the shadow of World War II because Trump is an evil Yahtzee. You know what I mean? So yeah. Oh, right next to it we have so the national park Smokey the Bear. Is it Smokey? Yeah, right next to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So we have like this in neoliberal kitsch, as I've said before. It jumbles up symbols and it distorts their meaning to such an extent that the past there is no such thing as a future. There's no futurism anymore. It's an infinite present, but like more woke, I guess you could say. And there's no past anymore because the past has been picked clean of its symbols. So here we have Smokey the Bear, who is preserving the national parks. And the national parks were started by Teddy Roosevelt. I know this because I had my graduate, when I went to poli sci, my graduate professor, who was my supervisor, was an American. Oh, he went to UCLA, I think. No, but he went to prestigious American universities where he was taught by both postmodernists and Straussians, but he was like hardcore postmodernist. But we got along pretty good. I wonder if he, you know, wonder if he'd be mortified hearing what I have to say. But anyways, he talked about in this one class about how the American conservationism started off with like this very like right-wing reactionary, like Teddy Roosevelt wanted to like install this aristocratic ideal of like the American ruling class, like the aristocratic class, they get to become men in the national parks. And the national parks started off not so much they did in the service of nature, but it was a sort of like sublime terrifying aspect of nature that only like true men of power could overcome, and by overcoming themselves. So that was Teddy Roosevelt's you know all like reinterpretation of the old world mythos of the ruling the ruling class, both the warrior caste and the you know the Brahmins. They had to test their hardness in the wilderness, but we had to do this by preserving the national parks. And of course, my professor was like, "Oh, this is terrible," but I was like, "Oh, this is secretly based." And I think I was still like kind of a libertarian at the time, so it's deeply embedded in this like American ritualism that unfortunately, like late capitalism has like totally destroyed. Like American consumerism and like notice how like as consumerism becomes like the American, like part of the American religion, at the same time the concerns of the environment are paid like lip service to in a nebulous like Greta Thunberg, like uh what would you call it, like what did Derek Jensen call it, big green environmentalism TM. But in actuality you have people like lunatics like Matty Iglesias thinking that we need to like import the world in America, and that we have enough arable land to like basically build like one giant favela society. But anyway, so juxtapose Smokey the Bear, which is a symbol of the American conservationist project started by Roosevelt, next to fucking, again, this is like a hallmark of all in the art world and in advertising and in pop culture. the culture industry and the art world, which the art world is now being, basically it was totally absorbed by the culture industry. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is like the symbol, right? This is like oh, of course, America, the Hope by, I forget the artist that did this, but the Obama thing. You have Crazy Horse. Who is that? Is that I don't know who that is. Oh, I'm sure. I'm very sure. Yeah, Mount Rushmore. I'm sure all of these men, they hate the evil fascist and everything that Trump represents. Yeah, I'm sure. But of course, they were slave owner white supremacists, right? They were evil, terrible. Well, I guess except for Lincoln gets a pass, but there you go. We have it. Oh wow, typical like boomer '60s, like Joe Biden. He really is the boomer liberal, like I went to Woodstock or I was gonna go to Woodstock type of, like the last dying gasp of the boomer neoliberal establishment, like toppling over its neocon, but yet not toppling over, but yet absorbing the neocon aspect of it and absorbing the basically swallowing the undercurrents of American boomerism whole. So and notice how the most like insane like that one video of this like literal glow in the dark who had this video about if you look at the hashtag Trump's new army, he talks about like how basically we have to round up all the Trump supporters and we have to like spy on them and get them fired. And like the most insane and fervent support for these type of people are usually like white upper to middle to upper middle class boomer white women. So go figure, right? There you go. Oh, Hollywood, goodbye. Wow. So basically, the Hollywood sign, I would say nowadays, above Mount Rushmore, above Crazy Horse, above any sort of American monument that is the classic picture of Americana, I would say that the Hollywood sign is probably the alpha symbol of the alpha and omega of the current American world order, because it's the culture industry. It is the hideous cryptids of the culture industry, like Jimmy Kimmel, that has been swallowed, pumped out by the effluvic valve of the hideous gangrenous womb of Hollywood that really has really installed what the American blue empire uh, is. That's the actual colonization of culture. And as much as America bombs and destroys villages and invades countries and installs dictators, the real power is the American Hollywood culture industry to infect and absorb and feed off of the world like some sort of diseased malignancy that has to eat away at the host. And so, yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're dancing. Oh, yeah. Oh, Smokey the Bear. Oh, Smokey the Bear is twerking. Wow. Oh, Grant Wood. Oh, wow. The American Gothic, Grant Wood. So I wonder if the values, when I initially viewed this, it totally slipped my mind, but I wonder if the values of the American regionalist painters like Grant Wood, I wonder if it's more aligned with Donald Trump's idea of America or Joe Biden's idea of neoliberal hell world. I kind of wonder if like all of those regionalist painters that wanted to go back to the land, that wanted to embody in the work of art the yeoman farmer ideal, that hoi polloi, like the top art critics like Susan Sontag and others called like racist and white supremacist and white identity. And I wonder, Joe Biden pandering to all of these identity groups, I wonder if that that image of American Gothic, I wonder if it's more in line with Trumpism or the quote unquote, even though it's not really, and we'll see what happens, the quote unquote return to the order of things that Biden represents. I wonder. And notice how this hashtag Biden erased women, notice how the culture warriors of the empire has to swoop in and eviscerate online one identity group for another. So that's really fascinating. But I'm getting off topic. So yeah, I didn't notice American Gothic was in here, but I wonder, it's really curious how the culture industry, like I've said, has this ability to destroy symbols and distort their historical context and deroot them for their purposes of propaganda. And so neoliberal kitsch is the total deculturation of the world, and everything becomes kitsch because everything becomes insular. It is not commenting upon a genealogy, a history of art. It is the sum total of cheap culture industry production that is mass produced. And politics as well, or is a force of deculturation, because now American politics has been exported to the world. So there you go. Yeah, see it. Oh wow, look at this cringe. This is just cringe. I can't. And the very end is just the worst part. Yeah. Okay, so they're removing it. Here it comes. Yes, the aristocratic George Washington, that the evil slave owner, white supremacist George Washington. So there you go. That's the end of this horrendous video. But I wanted to show you the comments. So here we have so it was just a bad dream. So this is American cinema basically filleting itself. So let's see. We have people responsible for millions of deaths in the Middle East. We have people responsible for millions of deaths at home. And Lady Liberty is waking up to the neoliberal order of the Democratic Party, who had to basically suppress and quash dissident opposition from the left in their own party. And I love how Biden, him helping Bill Clinton to basically crush the unions in the 90s under the American neoliberal order, and then further sticking the thumb in the wound with Obama. I love how he puts a portrait of Cesar Chavez, the union leader, behind him. But Lady Liberty, so this is neoliberal kitsch right here. This is gutting the symbols, in this case of cinema and Americana. It's gutting them and re-territorializing them for the purposes of the neoliberal order. So yeah, there we go. So grab her by the pussy, evil misogynist, now really strong and empowered, kicks back, right? And all of the weight of American ideals of the immigrants and give us your poor and tired and huddled masses, even though they didn't mean it that way. That wasn't the actual. There's a history behind that quote, but this is the famous cartoon. See, this is what I mean by political cartoons invading the consciousness, being the of America, being the, well, not just America, but the world. They are the main conveyor belt of neoliberal kitsch. So that's one of them. So it's The Mask, because of course Trump was responsible for every single death, right? So let's see, these cringe. They're all boomers, by the way, except for the millennial soy polloi, as I like to call them. This is actually a good comment. Actually, I thought this guy was he looked like it, but it's true. People still can't afford food, and the Dems will do nothing to address the millions of people about to be evicted. But sure, the clown has gone, so dance like everything's just magically better. It's true. Look at this. Look at this. And then kicking Trump. Was this an SNL skit? I think it was. Something like that. It's just so stupid. Another thing. Oh, Nancy Pelosi tweeting. Yeah, really, that's great. But see, here's the thing. Neoliberal kitsch is devoid of any historic context. Therefore, it has to. The only way it could replicate its signal is its appropriated signifiers, is if it's a contextless, historyless, basically singular entity that creates its kitsch aesthetic of deculturation. It has to gut culture of its significance, its original context, in order to make a point in service of politics. And look, the heroes, the late night comedians, they're going to sleep they're going to rest on their laurels. In the end, America chose the boy who stuttered over the bully. Oh, wow. That's a very good millennial sort of thing that, Sam Hyde spoofed in rather World Peace, MD spoofed with the bully episode, the one skit. Because, America chose the boy who stuttered over the bully. Wow. I love how millennials have basically been indoctrinated to think that bullies are like these demons that hide in the corner, but it's actually the bullies are the bad guys because they're insecure about themselves. And we're coming up to another great one, but so yeah, the bullies, the demonization of bullies. I truly, unironically, I'm not being facetious. I'm not like this is unironically, this is true. The death of bullying, the demonization of the destruction of the bully in American schools has led to several different pathologies and has led to the destruction of a lot of common decency and a lot of recognition of what is normal and what is not normal. When you destroy the bully, you have an inverted hierarchy in schools. And you saw this with like the millennial, the Zoomer activists, like the who was the gun guy, the really annoying what's his name? Nobody cares about him anymore. The Gonzalez girl, and you have the other one during the Nicholas Cruz. What's the guy's name? I forget. Anyways, uh, you have this inversion of the order. Now the theater kids are on top. It's no longer the jocks. It's no longer the strong. It's the force of personal narcissism of certain like a certain class of effete like creative types who are now on top of the social hierarchy, and they are the ones who instill the social orthodoxy at earlier ages, and they really are the ones who through like when Nietzsche talks about how Socrates like inverted the natural order through rationalism and through linguistics and through logocentrism, where these kids have a higher verbal IQ than the jocks, obviously, but they invert the order through greater societal gestalt of politics and other issues. And when I was going to school, because I'm like a early millennial, in my late 20s, I saw this with like the emo kids, like they were the popular kids. And the emo kids really, I could do a whole video on that, how they really brought about a lot of the modern like woke high school kid phenomenon, because there was a lot of things that slipped through the back door that culminated into the silent cultural revolutions and the new public religion. And so therefore the jock is like this ancient force of brutality and strength, and the jock has to be displaced by a more narcissistic a more narcissistic, not necessarily physically strong, but stronger in another sense of being able to enforce social orthodoxy. And that is why this whole story of like overcoming the bully is such a like uniquely like North American pathology. And it's like this this demonization of bullies. Not to say that bullying is good, like you shouldn't like bully kids into like you know very like a lot of bullies have done some very heinous things, but like casual bullying to enforce a sort of maturity, or what people used to recognize as maturity. Without bullying, you get perpetual adolescents, like millennials and Zoomers who were adolescent until like deferred adolescence and arrested development well into their 20s and even 30s now. So there you go. So the Joe Biden was like he stood up against the bully because Trump is like this natural like Chad trad like bully, not trad but like Chadish bully, like the machismo and all of that. So here we go. Here is this other one. We did it. We ended fascism. Wow. Nobody and nobody sees a problem with this. Like nobody cheering this on. sees a problem with this. This is amazing. This image alone is a sign of what's going to come. And when people who are like just your ordinary like boomer Fox News conservative is now going to get dragged away, they're going to cheer for it. They're going to cheer because they supported an evil fascist. Uh, like these comments alone, like they're just so. Notice how like the legitimate points, like such as this one that Jimmy Kimmel. Not that I agree with it. Funny how things change. Notice how people like swoop in to defend their famous like culture industry celebrities. It's almost like people change their minds. Wow, just wow. We're not going back. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see what happens because you can't release an eldritch force onto the world and just expect to contain it. The end of an era. Wow, that's amazing. Well, wow, it's just yeah, you see like all of the stupid like black Twitter memes and gifs, and it's just like sassy gifs, and it's just like, and the thing is, as my good friend Hotep Sophia has enlightened me on, Black Twitter isn't a unified thing because what people mean by Black Twitter, like they mean like normie stan Twitter. That's what they mean. They mean like the utmost like gutter level, like lowest common denominator type of discourse. So I've watched this 16 times, it still blows me away. Oh, Lawrence Tribe, wow. Dreyfus. So all the C-list celebrities are gonna get in on this, and some based ones like Dr. Nis. I saw Parallax Optics up there. But really, so yeah, this is, I think I'm going to wind this down. I just wanted to do, um, I'm going to have to wow, look at that. That's amazing. I'm going to have to retweet that. Oh my God, Statue of Liberty dancing. Today we showed the world that there's no my pillow large enough to smother our democracy. Yeah, but that implies that you had democracy to begin with. That implies that what's happening now is not like a total farce and a media spectacle and a total subduing of any sort of idea of Americana the way it once was. And like, yeah, the my pillow guy is like fucking insane, but like that's besides the point. It's just it's so telling to me that these people, they truly, I'm seeing this rhetoric about defending democracy, we got democracy back, oh my God, like these people literally live in a Marvel movie. And it's just, let me stop screen share over here. It's fascinating to me how these people think, and these like secular political ideas that aren't even real has been elevated in their minds to the point of a public religion, and you can't dissuade them from any sort of any sort of critique of democracy or what they think democracy is. And you can't really show them that, like, this evil demon was really a necessity in some ways because he was like a kayfabe heel that people like Jimmy Kimmel, they derive their legitimacy from by making like stupid low grade jokes every night about like just inane, like him and Stephen Colbert and the other ones just making inane, stupid observations that a team of writers had to pump out for them. And it's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous, but I just wanted to like show you a clear cut example of neoliberal kitsch. And as I said, like, subscribe, share, comment, especially comment. And I will see you soon. As I always say, God bless and goodbye.